thank you guys for that work. There's still another leg. We had chances. We can win this next leg. We stay together, we stay as a team, we take the positives, we go from there.
For the third time, Vancouver and Pacific meet in the Canadian Championship. But for the first time, the CPL side will play a game inside BC Place. Perhaps it will give them that offensive spark they desperately need. For the Whitecaps, their mission remains the same. Three-peat as national champions. Taking care of business tonight keeps them on the path to doing just that. Sam Adekubi clearly in good shape, back from injury, sprinting down the hall to get into action as we welcome you back inside our One Soccer studio. Matchday live. Andy Petrillo, Gareth Wheeler, Jordan Wilson. It is the second leg of the TELUS Canadian Championship between Vancouver and Pacific. And welcome to the new viewers who are just tuning in. We've been here all night. We had an earlier match between Toronto FC and Forge. Forge beat TFC leg 1 2-1, the final in that one. But here tonight, Toronto FC 1-0. They are victorious. Lorenzo Insigne getting the lone goal. So TFC off to the final, which will be on September 25th. Let's begin, though, with the Vancouver Whitecaps, who would like to meet Toronto FC in that final, because the Vancouver Whitecaps, of course, are on their quest for a three-peat. TFC, the only organization to have done that in the Canadian Championship. But it's kind of interesting. Let me look at my notes here. Vancouver last played a game on August 7th. What they've been doing? Have they been chilling? Have they been just chilling since then? Like, what's going on?
Vanni Sartini said everything in training for the past 2.5 weeks has been a competition, and that he doesn't really believe in the squad scrimmages. For me, that was as well as a player. That's 10 minutes where you take it seriously, and then it's a free-for-all. Yeah. You're doing stuff that you're doing Maradona's in the middle. You're not serious. But you know what Vancouver Whitecaps are serious about? This tournament. Mm-hmm. They put their best players out. They make sure that they go for it at all times. There's always balance within this side. They're the favorites of this match. For me, they're the favorites to still go out and win this tournament. And the three-peat looks like it's brewing.
The most consequential thing that's happened over the last month to the Vancouver Whitecaps is a very quiet transfer window. Because we all acknowledge this is the best team right now in Canada. They're favorites to go on and win this competition. Just feel like they might be a little bit behind the two LA sides, maybe one or two others in the Western Conference. A very good team in this 50th anniversary year. You just would have liked for them to maybe have added that one extra attacking piece. Sam Adekubi, who's barely played this season, certainly helps and is going to feel like a new player for the run into the season if he can stay fit. But that's kind of the biggest thing that's happened here over the last few weeks.
Maybe that's okay. Maybe status quo for Vancouver is going to feel good here tonight, because it really hasn't been status quo for Pacific, at least from a results perspective. This is the last time when they played against the Whitecaps, July 10th. Wow. That was the first leg. They haven't been able to win. 0-1-5. They've scored 2 goals. In fact, they've not scored more than 1 goal in a game since June 14th. Their last win came on July 7th. That was also the last time they scored a goal from open play. How? Why have things gone so sideways?
James Merriman has tried to shuffle the deck. He's burnt the deck of cards, grabbed another deck, and then shuffled it again, and he just can't find the right combination in terms of attacking players. Now, obviously, it's not just your 2 or 3 attacking players that contribute to goals, but here, this is the case. He cannot settle on a front 2, a front 3, a front 1. It's just every week, it's a new player coming in. He's tried everything. He's put his arms around them. This dates back to last season, by the way. He's called them out publicly. They have scored 14 goals in 19 league games. Like, this is a team that over the course of their history has always been one of the most dangerous attacking sides in the Canadian Premier League. And even in this game tonight, like, they trade away Eamon Salouf, one of their true legitimate attacking options. Moses Dyer, the player who's traded for, can't play tonight. He's cup tied. He's keep on looking for answers, but seemingly someone needs to step up in terms of the attackers. The question is who, and your guess is as good as mine.
Well, let's take a look at Vancouver's starting 11, because it's not going to be easy for Pacific against this squad that is, looking good in MLS play. Even though it has been a while, they're still strong there. They've looked good as well in the Canadian Championship. I mean, Vanni, as we mentioned, though, in that leg against Cavalry, calling out his team, saying, hey, we're on a mission here. They do get Sam Adekubi back, so it'll be great to see him. Gauld, White, Raposo, they're the ones up front. Let's hear from Vanni Sartini, who caught up with our Christian Jack.
Vanni, it's been an unprecedented break, almost 3 weeks without a game. What do you need to do to make sure you have the momentum from the whistle tonight?
We need to start well. We need to focus, and I think we need to start a game like thinking that no, we're not 1-0 up, thinking that we're 0-0 and try to win the game, because I think that's the only way to give us the necessary urgency to try to avoid any problem, because we need to take the lesson of what happened here a few months ago against the Cavalry. We were more or less in the same situation, and we risked to get eliminated because we didn't perform very well. So yeah, we need to do a good game.
It was 3 years ago yesterday that the team lost against Pacific 4-3. You have not been knocked out since. What does this competition mean to the Whitecaps?
A lot. We won the last 2 years. We tried to do this historical thing to go 3 finals in a row and winning 3 times in a row. If we win tonight, it would be hosting a final again. So yeah, it means a lot for the club, also not only for the competition per se, but also because it gave, I think, a new dimension of the club. We started to think like we are a team that can win trophy, they were a team that can be also in the league, a team that can be with awareness of being a good team. So it means a lot for us.
Finally, Ryan Gauld is back after injury, 5.5 weeks out. He also got his Scottish national team cap today. How special is that for him? And what can you get from him tonight? How long can he go?
Yeah, I hope for sure he's very happy, and I hope he gets a boost from that because he's something that he really wanted, and I'm really happy that he got this recognition. He's ready. He trained with the team the last 2 weeks. He's still not 100% probably to play 90 minutes, but I decided to start him and play as much as he can, because it's so important for the team than just limit him to 30 or 45 minutes. So hopefully he can be a factor in all the time that he's going to be with the team and help us win the game.
You're 90 minutes from another final. Thanks, Vanni.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that you would.
Thank you.
I would totally do the exact same thing. Although just
great,
don't hit it too hard. I don't need that thing falling on him. But yeah, Ryan Gauld, he got the lone goal in that game against Pacific, so he's given them this lead here, and it's nice to see him back.
Yeah, and I asked Vanni Sartini yesterday how long would he play him. He said about 60 minutes. He's not going to push a guy like that. And I like that you start him, because I think as well, people don't really realize this, but getting that warm-up as well just really gets you ready for a match like tonight. But you talk about who the break benefits, and sometimes players you haven't played in a while, but getting a Sam Adekugbe back and getting Ryan Gauld back that really benefited from the 2.5 weeks. This is what he needed, Vanni Sartini, to have his best players, to have these ace cards play in a match like this. And there's no bigger player for Vancouver Whitecaps than Ryan Gauld.
And it's fitting today, after a decade out of the Scotland picture, he gets a call up internationally to go back and play for Scotland. So turning heads, he's just such a brilliant talent. He does so much right. He is the catalyst for all that works for this team. So the danger man here tonight, it was a great goal he scored in the first leg, and the hope is he can propel this team to a couple early goals, and they can ease their way through the rest of the night.
That is a valid point, because when you've just finished warming up, the last thing you want to do now is sit on the bench and then come on in as a substitute because they're limiting your minutes. Start.
And your warm-up is not the same, I don't care what anyone says, when you're a sub. It's different.
Yeah.
You're looking at the game, you've had a couple snacks, like getting into that rhythm. You know me, I've had my gummy bears. Far too many snacks while you're just sipping Gatorade and looking at your team play. But getting into that rhythm is important.
It's like, why does your shin pad look all chunky over there?
It's on the back?
Yeah, they got things stuffed in there. How about Brian White?
Brian White has scored 7 goals in his last 5 games. He started 11 straight games. With Vancouver Whitecaps not bringing in a real other legitimate number 9 in the window, a lot of it falls on him staying healthy and him staying effective. He leads American players in goals scored in Major League Soccer as well. So he's been everything and more.
No pens.
It's no pens. These are all goals from whether it be open play or other forms of set pieces. But what a player. The White Gauld combination, Jordan.
The thing about him, too, Wheels, he knows a pass or a cross or that ball is coming. He's just waiting. He's chomping at the bit. There's chemistry within the side. Specifically in this tournament, he knows that he's going to get the better of a defender at a moment. And what a joy to have a striker that is in form at this time in this tournament.
So those are 2 players we're talking about who can find the back of the net for Pacific as we take a look at their starting 11. Who will be the hero here for them tonight? As mentioned, the last time they scored from open play, July 7th, Zanata's up front. This is a squad that James Merriman is looking at to say, hey, we have a chance here. James Merriman, by the way, coming from the Vancouver Whitecaps system himself. He's pretty excited to be here at BC Place. I'm sure he's saying things to his players, motivate them, some of them as well with Whitecaps connections. Will it be enough? James Merriman with KJ.
James, great to see you. We'll get to the game in a second. Let's talk the occasion. You worked here, you lived here, spent most of your coaching career here. How special is it for you to bring Pacific from the island to Vancouver tonight?
Absolutely. It was a goal from day one, like I said before, to create a development club, to give more players opportunity and to develop. You need to be playing games on this kind of a stage, right? So to bring our club, our team, these players, they've earned it. They've deserved the right to be here and put themselves in a great opportunity to play a big match on the stage that they want to be on.
You mentioned it hasn't been easy for you in the league, but this is your third semi-final in the last 4 years. You've got CONCACAF experience. You said you deserve to be here. What's it going to mean to you tonight to be able to put that experience into play?
We have to. We have a couple players in the locker room that were in those big games. We learned lessons. This is a type of game you cannot be naive. We need to be incredibly disciplined. We know that we need to be the hardest working team on the field. And then we need to believe, we have to believe that we belong here. Like I said, we have to believe that we deserve to be here and that we can get something out of the game. That's most important.
Final one for you. You had a number of choices up front. Josh Hurd is injured, but you went with Dario Zanata. What do you need from him today, and how important will width be?
Dario needs to be a target for us. A few weeks back he played against Ottawa as the lone striker, and he did an excellent job of protecting the ball, giving our midfielders time to breathe, to come underneath and to connect. And then we have Kunle Dadaluk and George Makambilwa that need to attack the wide areas and attack the space with Pierre Lamotte and Stefan Yates. So Dario is very, very important. He's got to lean into all his experience, in Scotland, and he needs to lead us from the front today.
Thanks, James. Special night for you and the club. Enjoy it.
Thanks, KJ. Appreciate it.
He's a man looking confident right now, feels pretty confident in the lineup that he's put out there. You just love the hair. But I want you to look into your crystal ball and predict who's going to score tonight for them.
No one? I don't. Let's put it this way. Their two top goal scorers, Moses Dyer, just joined the club. He's on 4, hasn't scored for Pacific yet. The next one's Eamon Salouf. They traded him away. They have 2 players on 2 goals. Their center back, Thomas Meyer-Jaguar, and Sean Young, who's more of a holding midfielder. So Zanata, we're going to look at Stefan Yates here because he has scored a goal in the season for Pacific, but it's the way that Merriman started to use him. It's like in a more free role underneath.
Yeah.
So he's included in the midfield, but he's kind of playing underneath, almost like a 10-ish, if you want to describe him that way. We're not sure what the 11's going to look like tonight. We think it might be a back 5, and then there's kind of 3 in behind Yates and Zanata. So it's going to be up to him to create for this team, because it's fine. Zanata needs to be a focal point, but where's the creativity going to come from? It's going to come from the former Toronto FC man.
And he's been the most consistent player for Pacific FC. And even in the first leg, when they had moments, one specific moment with Josh Hurd, he was the one to provide that pass. Yates going forward, he's dangerous. And like I said, for James Merriman, who has shifted around his lineup and is really trying to find players that he trusts, that's a player that he trusts. So he has to step up and continue to be big in those moments for his side.
The 10 players on each team, so 20, when they play the game right, you barely hear the goalkeeper's name. But in this case, do we feel like Emil Gazov's going to have a pretty huge role here for Pacific?
Yeah, somersault, standing on his head. There's a great young goalkeeper, but I think Pacific has they've gone about their way of playing as a defensive squad, but it's gone so far left in the defensive bit that now they're looking to attack a little bit, but you do still need a player like Gazov to step up. And look, even these saves, I think every game when I watch him, he just gets better and better. And really, that's just coming from the confidence that he has, Wheels.
He and Thomas Meyer-Jaguar, I mean, take your pick who's been the player of the season for Pacific. And both of them have been outstanding. What impresses me so much about Gazov is he played just about half the games last year. Merriman kept his belief in the young goalkeeper, and he helped them into the playoffs and made a little bit of a run at the end of the season. He brought that forward with him this year. He's still so young, but he has a world of, he has so much potential. Scouts I talk to, that are looking at him, they rate him. Yeah. They're looking at this guy to be a potential one to really play at a high level. So tonight, the job is simple. Keep his team in this for as long as possible. It's just 1-0 on aggregate. It seems and feels like 10 right now, but it's just a goal. Your goalkeeper, your back line keep you in it. Stranger things have happened, Andy.
Yeah. Hey, I was impressed that I knew 10 and 10 was 20.
That's how you doing the math, though.
All the digits.
So you do the
This is why I don't play blackjack, because I actually still count.
Oh,
no. Listen, I'm okay. I'm a grown woman. I can admit my failures. Math is a failure to me. But to your point, I also know what just one goal means. And it does mean Pacific is still in this.
Easy to count.
But they do need to find the back of the net, which has been a struggle for them. It's the second leg, semifinal, TELUS Canadian Championship on One Soccer.
Toyota's electrified vehicles are for everyone. Every chauffeur, snack connoisseur, every scenery soaker, practical joker, every road tripper, toe dipper, every 9-to-5er, every long driver. Starting over 20 years ago with the Prius, we now have the largest lineup of electrified vehicles in Canada, because this journey belongs to everyone.
Life's better with extra space. Space for family. Space for memories. Space for you. Try 4 weeks free. Sentinel Storage, proud partner of Canada Soccer.
That shirt with these pants? Okay, graph paper? Don't box me in. Two-zipper pencil case, period.
We're gonna need a bigger backpack.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Canada, for making dreams come true. We're with you all the way.
Langford Starlight Stadium, the home of Pacific FC, sits just outside Victoria. Then it's a short drive up the coast before boarding a plane. Maybe it's a boat that you want to take. You cross the Georgia Strait. 125 kilometers later, you'll land in downtown Vancouver's BC Place. And inside is where you will find our Christian Jack. Boom, miraculously, there he is as we welcome you back to the show. And KJ, all eyes will be on Vancouver Whitecaps because, again, they've been very vocal, Vanni Sartini, in saying we want to three-peat, becoming just the second Canadian team to do that in the Canadian Championship. And they are the best Canadian team by virtue of winning the last two Can Champs, also consistent, making playoffs in MLS as well. But how has this competition in particular also allowed the Whitecaps to be consistently good?
Yeah, I think there's been a real change in the way that their mentality has been played over the last couple of seasons, particularly in MLS play. And we know MLS is very competitive. Vanni Sartini talked to me this week where he said he admitted he thought the LA teams were a little bit better than them right now. But other than that, they really think that they can make some noise in the Western Conference in Major League Soccer. And he told me that it comes from moments like this in the Canadian Championship. There really is nothing better in the game than winning trophies. That's what players will always tell you. You don't get the opportunity to do that very often. You mentioned it, they've won the last two. In fact, there's a lot of talk in Canadian soccer circles now that this competition as of 2019 and on is very different. There's a lot more teams in it, League One, and obviously the CPL. It's harder, there's more games, there's more rounds. And the fact that the Whitecaps can try and get for a three-peat in this new era of the Canadian Championship has certainly helped elevate their style and their play in MLS as well.
It's been exciting watching this Canadian Championship grow, that's for sure. When it comes to Whitecaps as well, they get Sam Adekubi back. Hasn't been easy for him, KJ, as we all know, with his injuries. We're going to actually see him back in Canadian camp for the first time in a while. What has this been like for him, and how do you see things moving forward for him?
Look, it's been undoubtedly a very difficult year. He's back to the Whitecaps after 6 years away. He's only played 20 games. He's only started 8 and played 90 minutes once in a full calendar year. That was for Canada against Jamaica in the Nations League. So they're hopeful of getting him about an hour tonight. I spoke to Jesse Marsh today after he named him in the Canada team, and he said, look, he can be a major asset, a big piece for us going forward. It's not too long ago we played in all 3 World Cup games for Canada. He's had a very difficult year, obviously, with the personal tragedies in Turkey, and then now coming over here in Vancouver and having a knee and a thigh injury. But it's a big moment for him, a big momentum for him to get back out there. And Vanni Sartini told me recently that he thinks, an informed, fit Sam Adekubi is one of the best 3 fullbacks in MLS. So we'll be interested to see whether he can get the opportunity to be the best Sam Adekubi and the best version of himself once again tonight here in the semi-final.
Great to see him back. He gave us that Canadian heritage moment out in Edmonton when he celebrated the goal by diving into the snowbank. We all remember that and love that. But let's turn our attention quickly here to Pacific. We just saw your interview with James Merriman. He was all smiles, KJ. I mean, he's excited for this game, but it has been a tough go for Pacific. How big of a challenge are the Whitecaps here tonight?
Yeah, look, I think they're overwhelming underdogs. We just talked a lot, and you guys have been talking all night about the Toronto FC Forge game and just how close that is. And Forge losing by an away goal is something that will be very difficult for them to overcome for a long time. There's an undoubtedly bigger gap in this matchup. The Whitecaps are the class of Canadian teams at the moment. Pacific arrive in really difficult moment, at the most difficult moment in the James Merriman era. We've talked a lot about the ability that they can't score goals. 4 goals in the last 8 games, 1 from open play. They don't win games very often. They only got 1 win in the last 8. In fact, you have to go back to the start of last season where in 14 of 57 games, they've got to that 2-goal mark. That's it. So it's been really challenging. Look, they know tonight, though, that this is a monumental night for that franchise, for that organization to come across and have that ability to come across here and play here where many of these players sat in the stands. James Merriman worked here for 6 years. So it's almost come at that crossroads in their organization where it's a special moment for them to come from the island. They're nowhere near the best version of themselves. So they feel like they told me that this is a breath of fresh air. Forget the challenges and the issues that are in league play right now. No one cares about the standings. It's one night, it's 90 minutes, it's one opportunity to get 1 goal to be in this tie and to try and make history and host the Canadian Championship final.
That's why we watch until the end. KJ will check in with you post-game. Enjoy the game. Be sure to tune into One Soccer today. That's Mondays and Thursdays right here on the network at 7 p.m. ET, where we talk all things soccer, both here at home in Canada and big storylines overseas as well. One Soccer today, Mondays and Thursdays. When we come back, we're getting closer to kickoff here, closer to figuring out who will be joining TFC in the TELUS Canadian Championship final. It's Vancouver Whitecaps, Pacific FC, next here on One Soccer.
For sport played with our feet, funny how lending a hand takes us further together.
I wanna run back to you. All I wanna do is run back to you and make my dreams come true. The only thing I ever do is run right back to you.
When the stakes are high, only the TELUS 5G network delivers.
Life's better with extra space. Space for family. Space for memories. Space for you. Try 4 weeks free.
Sentinel Storage, proud partner of Canada Soccer.
This ultimate mouth-watering moment is brought to you by the big, bold, ultimate taste of Ultimate Chicken Hot Dogs, only from Maple Lodge Farms.
Third meeting between these two teams in the Canadian Championship. First time, though, that Pacific gets to play at BC Place. So 2021, that was when Pacific defeated the Whitecaps. That's when we saw the era of Vanni Sartini begin, actually. Then the Whitecaps defeated Pacific 3-0, 2023 semis. And then here we are. This is also the first time where they are playing home and away in the Canadian Championship. That first leg going to Vancouver 1-0. And these are two teams that are going in opposite directions. That's a complete understatement. I mean, you have the Vancouver Whitecaps, who are actually this season in MLS action. They are chasing a franchise record in points. Meanwhile, in CPL action, you have Pacific, who's trying to avoid the fewest points in franchise history. Who needs this more?
Well, the Whitecaps want to go out and win this tournament. It gets them back in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. The biggest factor for me in this game is where they're playing. It's Pacific's first trip to BC Place. You played both out in Langford and at BC Place before. It's a much different size of a field, the vibe, the peripherals, everything involved. So it's not just that two teams going in different directions. It's a completely different venue, and this one does not play in Pacific's favor.
I will say when you are Pacific FC, an underdog that's going to BC Place, you have to enjoy that environment. You have to be that kid that wants to play in an environment where no one wants to see you win, and embrace that. They've had a slow start, a slump, Pacific FC, but you have everything to play for in this game. Go out and enjoy that.
Well, easier said than done. Go have fun. Have fun. There's only a spot in the Can Champ final on the line, which would be huge for a CPL team. But of course, Vanni Sartini wants that three-peat. Let's see how this one plays out. The first 45 coming up here on One Soccer. Nigel Reed, Jimmy Brennan, have your call.
The TELUS Canadian Championship on One Soccer is brought to you by Toyota.
Toyota's electrified vehicles are for everyone. Every chauffeur, snack connoisseur, every scenery soaker, practical joker, every road tripper, toe dipper, every 9-to-5er, every long driver. Starting over 20 years ago with the Prius, we now have the largest lineup of electrified vehicles in Canada because this journey belongs to everyone.
The TELUS Canadian Championship on One Soccer is brought to you by CIBC.
CanadaSoccerStore.com is the official home for the widest range of Canada Soccer licensed product, match jerseys, and fanwear.
That shirt with these pants? Okay, graph paper? Don't box me in. Choose a bird pencil case, period.
We're gonna need a bigger backpack.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Canada, for making dreams come true. We're with you all the way.
The TELUS Canadian Championship on One Soccer is brought to you by Allstate.
Nash against Sutton. Nash scores. And the goal. What a goal.
Greetings from beautiful BC, where we're all set for the final act of the TELUS Canadian Championship semi-finals. Nigel Reid in the booth, alongside Canada Soccer Hall of Famer Jimmy Brennan, welcoming you to BC Place in Vancouver as the Whitecaps go head-to-head with the pride of Vancouver Island, Pacific FC of the Canadian Premier League, for a place in the final itself. The Whitecaps, looking to hoist the Voyageurs Cup for the third year running, have a slender lead over the Tritons, who have plans to create the cup set of the season. As the teams come to midfield and await a rousing rendition of the national anthem, O Canada.
Si vous le veuillez, veuillez maintenant vous lever pour l'hymne national du Canada.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north, strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
It is the Ferryside Derby, the first to take place at BC Place, the fourth meeting